What if you were unable to wake from that dream? How would you know the difference between the dream world and the real world?
What is happening to me?
It's been 26 years since The Matrix took the world by storm, and there's probably still a lot of weird facts you didn't know about the cinematic masterpiece. The behind-the-scenes shenanigans of The Matrix were just as mind-blowing as the movie itself. From the shocking martial arts training the actors had to undergo to the crazy film effects, these weird facts will leave you on the edge of your seat. Number 1. Will Smith could have been Neo. This first fact will surely send shockwaves through you, as not many fans knew that The Matrix almost had Will Smith as its star. As it turns out, Keanu Reeves wasn't the first choice for Neo. Will Smith was offered the role of Neo in The Matrix, but he turned it down to take on the role in Wild Wild West. This isn't the biggest shock because at the time when casting directors were throwing around names, Keanu Reeves's career was still struggling to get off the ground. Ultimately, Will Smith was offered the role, which he turned down. Looking back on it now, Will Smith stated, "I would have messed up The Matrix. At that point, I wasn't smart enough as an actor to let the movie be, whereas Keanu was." Will Smith himself went on to gush about how perfect Keanu was for the role, and Keanu Reeves went on to reprise the character in 3 follow-up films. If you ask us, all's well that ends, because The Matrix wouldn't have been a raving success without Reeves's talent and the life he brought to the character Neo. Will Smith wasn't the only actor considered for the role. It turns out Nicolas Cage, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Tom Cruise also reportedly turned down the role. It certainly makes you wonder what could have been, and if The Matrix would have turned out any different with any of these actors at the helm. Number 2. Samuel L. Jackson was almost Morpheus. This next fact takes us to Samuel L. Jackson, who could have stepped into the dangerous shoes of Morpheus. Turns out Lawrence Fishburne was not the first choice for Morpheus. If you think about it, The Matrix could have had a different cast altogether if certain stars had said yes to certain roles. The irony of it all is that Lawrence Fishburne also turned down Samuel L. Jackson's role in Pulp Fiction. So I guess you could say that each actor found the role perfectly suited for themselves. To throw in another little weird fact in there, in 2014, Samuel L. Jackson went off on an interviewer who mistook him for Lawrence Fishburne. These actors have a poetic and professional balance that is almost intertwined and connected. Either way, Fishburne brought a certain feel to the role of Morpheus that no one else could have done. He reprised the role in The Matrix, Path of Neo video game, making him the only original actor to voice his character. It's a good thing Jackson turned down the role of Morpheus. Otherwise, who knows what The Matrix would have been without the voice and aura of Fishburne. Number 3. The bullet time effect. The next fact will leave you in a state of confusion. The bullet time effect wasn't done with CGI. To elaborate, the bullet time effect, which was prominently featured in The Matrix, is a visual effect that creates the illusion of time slowing down or stopping. At the same time, the camera moves around the subject. This effect utilized a rig of 120 real cameras, all triggered in sequence, and the results were, well, it changes filmmaking for the better. Bullet time effect allows the viewer to step into a whole new world, giving them the ability to see an event from multiple perspectives, almost as though time has been paused or significantly slowed down. This provides a different viewing experience, offering the viewer an intricate view of all the action. It is mind-blowing to think that this effect was achieved by using multiple cameras positioned around a scene to capture images from different angles simultaneously. It gets even weirder because when these images are played back in sequence, either in slow motion or as a freeze frame, it gives the impression of time being manipulated. If this fact doesn't make you think about the sheer masterpiece that is The Matrix, nothing else will. Think about the iconic scene where Neo dodges bullets. That is an unforgettable example of this effect. The cameras captured Keanu Reeves's movements from different angles, and when played back, it looked as though he was moving in slow motion while the camera circled him. Number 4. The Wachowskis pushed for philosophy education. The Matrix wasn't just any other action movie. It required intellect on the part of the actors as much as it required physical strength. Turns out, if you were an actor on the set of The Matrix, you were also required to do your homework. In this case, the Wachowskis required the actors to invest a lot of time in philosophy homework. Keanu Reeves and the other actors who starred in the film were required by the writer-director duo, Lana and Andy Wachowski, to invest time into heavy philosophical treatises such as Jean Baudrillard's Simulacra and Simulation. Another fun fact about this is that a copy of the book also appears in the movie, where Neo stashes forbidden computer software. Consider the physical presence of Baudrillard's book as an Easter egg for viewers familiar with the source material and the film's philosophical depth. The Wachowskis wanted their actors to have a deep sense of the profound philosophical concepts that form the foundation of The Matrix's story. By making them read this particular book, the actors were able to understand the film's theme of reality versus illusion. To top it all, using this particular book as Neo's hiding place is highly symbolic and ties the story together in numerous ways. Now you know that Baudrillard's work influenced the themes and philosophy of The Matrix, and having most of the cast and crew read the book was a genius move on the part of the Wachowskis. Number 5. Keanu Reeves channeled some Bruce Lee moves. Another interesting fact, or Easter egg if you will, that will leave you in awe is the subtle nod or tribute to the legend of martial arts, Bruce Lee. Taking a blast to the past, Bruce Lee was on top of the world in terms of refined action cinema. He had signature moves that only true fans could imitate in their sleep. As it turns out, 1999 saw some Bruce Lee moves brought to life on the Matrix screen. Bruce Lee had a signature move where he would often rub his nose with his thumb and forefinger, and Keanu Reeves took a page out of Lee's book. The Matrix actor put his spin on it while playing Neo. While it's not the flashiest move, it is an unmistakable homage to the legend himself. Keanu Reeves borrowed this Bruce Lee gesture in a conscious effort to pay respect to the history of cinematic martial arts, and in a way, it adds another layer of cool to an already iconic scene. Bruce Lee was a kung fu star. With movies like Enter the Dragon, his impact on the world of action movies is undeniable. Keanu Reeves's spin on the Bruce Lee gesture amplified Neo's character and skill, all while elevating him to a legendary status that would make Bruce Lee proud. Number 6. The Matrix did not invent bullet time. The bullet time effect cannot be mentioned without a reference to The Matrix, which is why it is shocking to realize that the movie did not invent this effect, but rather popularize the term. This special effect featured time dilation being manifested in the film as things slowed down for Neo when he learned to understand the rules of The Matrix. The Matrix revolutionized the action movie genre by effectively utilizing the time effect, which was evident in scenes where Neo dodged bullets as they slowed down around him. The bullet time effect is synonymous with The Matrix because many viewers wouldn't have known about it any other way. There's no doubt about it. The Matrix certainly gave this effect a wider audience and increased awareness, but it didn't invent the concept. If you're wondering who did, then you're in the right place. The bullet time special effects were noted to have been a result of Michel Gondry's work. John Gaeta, who led the special effects team on The Matrix, cited him as an influence for the bullet time effect. This same effect can be traced back to 1998, where it was used in the film Blade. It is safe to say that without The Matrix, perhaps not a lot of people would have witnessed the mind-blowing bullet time special effects. However, it is essential to give credit where it is due. Thus, the name Michel Gondry should also be associated with the bullet time special effects. Number 7. Keanu Reeves made an important connection. Keanu Reeves certainly knows how to play the hero or protagonist who always seems to be in the middle of an impossible fight. Another thing Keanu Reeves also knows how to do is make connections that last. One important connection he built on the set of The Matrix ended up on yet another set of an iconic film. You may be wondering what this means, and here comes the fact. Keanu Reeves was excellent in his role in The Matrix, but he couldn't handle all the stunts by himself. On the set of The Matrix, Reeves had a stunt double named Chad Stahelski. Stahelski was also incredibly talented and dedicated to his job. Stahelski gave it his all, day in and day out. He would take on the big hits and outdo himself on all his stunts. He did his job so well that he suffered broken ribs and a dislocated shoulder, all in the name of bringing The Matrix to life. Little did he know that his good work would pay off in the future, alongside Keanu Reeves, in yet another cinematic action film. The Matrix was a great film, but it also served as the perfect foundation for future cinematic endeavors. Years later, Keanu was looking for a new project, and as fate would have it, these two were back together on another film. This time, Reeves was the star of the John Wick film, which was co-directed by none other than Stahelski, who was making his directorial debut. Number 8. The Matrix almost didn't happen. It's almost impossible to imagine the world of modern cinema without the blockbuster that is The Matrix. It was certainly more than a movie. It was a cultural reset and a huge influence on the world. The weird fact is, this groundbreaking blockbuster almost didn't see the light of day. It's hard to imagine, but believe it or not, Warner Bros. Was reluctant to make the film. In hindsight, that would have been a colossal mistake on their part. But to play devil's advocate, at that time in the late 90s, the concept was somewhat different. The Matrix was a complex sci-fi narrative with a deep philosophical foundation, featuring untested visual effects that would require a huge budget. To top it all, the Wachowskis were almost completely unknown at the time, so it was understandable that Warner Bros. Had their doubts. However, the Wachowskis were eventually able to persuade the studio to back them after supplying a 600-page, shot-for-shot storyboard. They provided a large comic book drawn by artists Jeff Darrow and Steve Skroce. This was a comprehensive visual blueprint of the entire film, created to convince studio executives by allowing them to view the movie frame by frame. The rest, as they say, is history. Every single scene, camera angle, and action beat was drawn up and visualized for the executives to see. This was an excellent display of artistic talent and commitment, which finally changed the mind of Warner Brothers. The Matrix then went from almost denied to one of the most iconic films in cinematic history. Number 9. The lobby shootout wasn't digitally altered. When you think of The Matrix, you instantly imagine all the mind-blowing visual effects like bullet time and impossible stunts. It is easy to think that The Matrix's success is all tied down to early CGI effects, but you'd be surprised. One of The Matrix's most jaw-dropping sequences is the legendary lobby shootout, and even that wasn't digitally altered. In today's world, that same sequence would have been shot with the heavy use of CGI graphics, but the Wachowskis made a different and bold choice to create that scene. They decided to stage everything you see on the set, with explosions, water pouring in, and all of it. The scene required 10 days of filming, involving real explosions and actual water effects pouring in. This decision alone elevated the scene to even greater detail, making it an iconic cinematic experience. It wasn't the result of green screen magic, it was old-school Hollywood craftsmanship transformed into art. The commitment required to bring the shootout to life was intense, necessitating the use of practical effects that demanded time, coordination, and a remarkable amount of controlled chaos, all of which worked perfectly to bring the scene to life. The scene showed the Wachowskis' creative vision and the dedication of the cast and crew, which is why, all these decades later, the Matrix lobby shootout still stands out from the crowd. Number 10. The Matrix had a green filter. Another peculiar fact about The Matrix that keeps fans up at night is the film's tints and hues. From the moment The Matrix began, you will notice an undeniable difference between it and other action films. The world of The Matrix appears slightly off, with an unfamiliar atmosphere that can be attributed to one thing: the green aesthetic filter. The truth is that The Matrix looks weird because a green filter was used on all the scenes. This green filter gives The Matrix an otherworldly feel. It's almost as though viewers are seeing it through a monitor. The color blue was also used in all the real-world scenes, making it look even more interesting. This was certainly a powerful yet subtle artistic choice that makes The Matrix a cinematic treasure. The green effect was used deliberately to amplify the artificial feel. The subtraction of the color blue from everything we see inside The Matrix subtly reinforced the idea that this world is cold and manufactured. The filter was applied to all the footage, immediately giving the audience the subconscious impression that they were also looking at reality through a digital lens. Number 11. The S&M joint is real. When Neo is pulled into Trinity's world, the viewers are also thrown into the deep end of an underground S&M club. It's dark, edgy, and filled with many eye-catching characters. But here's the kicker. The club is not just a random set dressed by Hollywood. It is a real establishment. This is a mind-blowing fact that not a lot of people know about when it comes to The Matrix. What the viewers see on screen are people who seem like costumed background actors. What they don't know is that the club itself and the people in it are all real and not just background actors. The Wachowskis didn't build a set from scratch for this particular scene. Instead, they opted for an already existing vibrant underground joint in the heart of Sydney, Australia, where the film was shot. The Hellfire Club is a well-known establishment in Sydney, and the Wachowskis decided to simply ask regulars of the club to show up in their costumes for the scene in which Neo meets Trinity, and they did. What this means is that the background actors are simply being themselves the whole time, which lends the scene a raw, authentic feel that drives it even further. The Wachowskis' decision to go this route gave the scene a unique level of realism, proving that sometimes the best way to create a convincing world is to capture one that is real. Number 12. The Matrix caused problems while filming. When filming a cinematic masterpiece like The Matrix, scenes will inevitably push boundaries in every way possible. While pushing boundaries, it is inevitable to press a few buttons here and there accidentally. For the production of The Matrix, pushing boundaries led to some real problems in Sydney, Australia. For one, production was shut down for a while because a helicopter had flown through restricted space. This wasn't just a minor problem they could overlook. It was a serious infraction. For a massive Hollywood production with quite the budget, this wasn't a good sign. The chaos ensued because of the financial implications of putting production on hold. In the end, because of the high-profile nature of the film, a new development arose. New South Wales altered their laws to regulate the film's production, and by extension, the area became a popular shooting spot for American movies afterward. Was The Matrix going through all that trouble worth it? The answer is yes. Not only did fans receive true cinematic art, but the success of The Matrix also turned out to be beneficial to the local economy. It undoubtedly put Australia on the map as a global hub for film production. Number 13. Keanu Reeves isn't fussed by needles. Being the lead actor for a film like The Matrix comes with a long list of perks and discomforts. Keanu Reeves seemed to embrace every discomfort for the sake of cinematic authenticity. There was an almost disturbing scene where Neo wakes up in the machine world with dozens of wires and needles sticking out of his body. Don't worry, Keanu Reeves made use of a prosthetic torso for this scene, and all those spikes were on the prosthetic torso, not Reeves. While he did not have hundreds of needles stuck on his body for real, there were some, but those were real. The scene required close shots for authenticity and to capture a genuine reaction, so Keanu Reeves agreed to have real needles placed in his head by a professional acupuncturist. These needles were not props or fake Hollywood needles. They were real, thin, and sharp needles being inserted into his scalp. It's a good thing that Keanu Reeves wasn't frightened by the thought of needles sticking out of his head. It shows the remarkable level of commitment and dedication required to work on a film like The Matrix. Needles were just the tip of the iceberg for Keanu while filming The Matrix, yet he never wavered in his commitment to the craft. It might be a small, unseen fact for many viewers, but knowing a professional acupuncturist was on set, placing those needles into Keanu's head adds an extra layer of authenticity to the iconic scene. Number 14. This was not Carrie-Anne Moss' first time in The Matrix. Carrie-Anne Moss delivered the role of Trinity on a silver platter, but what you didn't know is that this wasn't the actress' first rodeo with The Matrix. In a crazy turn of events, way before Neo was offered the red pill, Carrie-Anne Moss was already navigating a different kind of Matrix on screen. This means The Matrix wasn't her first time working with that specific title. Back in 1993, Moss had a popular role in a 13-episode Canadian fantasy adventure show. The name of that show was also The Matrix. However, this was a completely different ballgame from The Matrix we all now know and love. The 1993 Canadian show was a supernatural thriller focusing on a hitman who, after being killed, is given a chance by a mysterious creature to save other souls on the brink of death. Carrie-Anne Moss played Liz Teal, a character invested in the mystical struggle of life and death. It's almost like a full-circle moment, because years before her breakout role in The Matrix, the actress was already starring in a show with the very same title that would eventually make her super famous. While the two Matrix projects are entirely unrelated in terms of storyline, this fact remains an interesting piece of information that adds to the lore of The Matrix. Number 15. Tank has a famous father. Tank, the brother of Dozer and a human born outside The Matrix, quickly became a fan-favorite character, played by actor Marcus Chong. However, behind this fan-favorite actor lies a surprising family connection that you might recognize. The last name Chong might ring a bell, and that's because Marcus Chong is the adopted son of the legendary actor Tommy Chong. Marcus Chong brought a genuine sense of authenticity to the role of Tank, thereby making the character a vital part of not just the film, but also an integral member of the entire team. While his role was memorable, it is unfortunate that he did not appear in the highly anticipated sequels, The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions. This is where the story gets messy and ugly. The reasons behind his absence from the sequel became a controversial issue. Several reports subsequently emerged along with legal findings hinting at a possible dispute over contract negotiations for the sequels. Things got out of hand, and before anyone knew it, there was a legal battle brewing. Marcus Chong was suing Warner Brothers and AOL Time Warner over the situation. It is difficult to specify the details of the lawsuit, but it highlighted the often tense relationship between actors and major studios, particularly when a breakout hit leads to renegotiations. The weirdest part of it all is that after the Wachowskis rejected Chong's demands, he was arrested in October 2001 for allegedly making threatening phone calls to the filmmakers. Number 16. The Wachowskis got a little help with the fight scenes. The Matrix is a film that consistently exceeds all expectations, hitting the mark every time. The film features some ambitious fight scenes that were modeled after Hong Kong's esteemed history in martial arts cinema. The Wachowskis, known for their visionary approach and ambition, recognized that they had to capture the essence of what made Hong Kong martial arts cinema so thrilling. Therefore, they went straight to the source. Their decision was not one that many filmmakers would make. They chose to think outside the box, and it was brilliant. They hired Yuen Wu Ping, a legendary martial arts choreographer, and it was a match made in martial arts heaven. Not only was Yuen Wu Ping good at his craft, he was also the genius behind some of Hong Kong cinema's most acclaimed and influential action sequences. He had worked on classics like Drunken Master and Once Upon a Time in China. In fact, he was a mastermind behind all things cinematic kung fu. Bringing Yuen Wu Ping on board as a fight choreographer changed the game. He taught the actors how to fight, embody the style and the balletic style of Hong Kong wire fu. Number 17. You might recognize one of the sets from another movie. Hollywood can recycle sets in a weirdly unnoticeable way. However, with The Matrix, there was just one familiar set. It was one of the most memorable early sets of The Matrix, a rooftop where Trinity makes her unbelievable escape from Agent Brown. The set had it all, from the architectural elements of the rooftop to the industrial skyline, but this wasn't the first time the set had been used in a film. Believe it or not, the set was handed down to The Matrix from another hit sci-fi film called Dark City. The 1998 tech noir film directed by Alex Proyas was a cult classic, and all things considered, it is pretty cool that both films had a set in common. Dark City was able to create an incredible world using the most practical and detailed sets. After Dark City wrapped up production, it was only fitting that these impressive constructions be recycled and repurposed for The Matrix, rather than being destroyed and going to waste. So the rooftop that Trinity is on when she escapes Agent Brown, it was a piece of the Dark City universe that worked perfectly for the Matrix universe. Number 18. The cast wore custom-designed shades. The Matrix does not joke around when it comes to its immersive yet stylish world. There were leather trench coats, slow-motion bullet dodges, and weirdly enough, there were also custom-designed shades. You might think the designer shades were just fashionable choices, and you might be right. Still, they were also part of the character's armor and a subtle glimpse into the personality of each character in the digital realm. The Wachowskis were meticulous and intricate in every detail. They didn't just go into a sunglasses shop to get the shades worn by characters like Morpheus and Trinity. These shades were custom designed specifically for the film. The shades were designed by Richard Walker and his firm, Blind. Walker knew he had to design shades that would perfectly represent the futuristic nature of the Matrix, and so he did. Walker didn't stop there. His ability to get the job done led him to get another high-profile job. This time, he also designed sunglasses for the title character in 2001's Lara Croft, Tomb Raider. His work perfectly amplified the message of the Matrix, and it's a steady reminder that even props are essential if you want to create a character that is out of this world. From philosophical homework to real-life S&M clubs, The Matrix was a whole world of its own. Every weird detail and fact is what made it the legendary piece of art it is today. Which of the weird facts interested you? Share it with us in the comments. Remember to hit the like button and subscribe. Before you go, click on the video displayed on your screen.